It is definitely taught, and it's so sad because that moment, so again, this happened when I was in kindergarten, that moment definitely defined the next decade and then some of my life, and the way that I viewed myself and the way that, I even carried myself. And it's sad. To make it worse, fast forward almost 20 years, I'm a nanny for a family in Milwaukee, and a similar incident happens. Mom was Puerto Rican, dad was white, three beautiful white passing children. They're not beautiful because they're white passing, they were just beautiful because they were beautiful kids, but they were white passing nonetheless. But the entire family spoke Spanish, and that was really cool because sometimes you don't see that. You don't see, that the native tongue of, one of the parents is passed on. And so, again, we love to see that kind of thing. I had a really good relationship with the mom. I used to come down early just to talk with her and hang out because her husband was in his, I guess, first couple years of residency. So again, he was, never really home. I didn't really interact with him much. So it was nice, to, I guess, be there and be that person for her. I always felt really comfortable with her because when I had first gotten to Milwaukee, I had experienced some discrimination when it came to housing. Really awful incident, really embarrassing, just, mildly traumatic. And I shared that with her, and she was so upset, she was very liberal, and she was very upset. She provided me with all these resources and people to call to go get that taken care of. And so when what ended up happened, I was shocked and disappointed, to say the least. One day I'm watching the kids as I normally do. I remember their youngest daughter was feeling like kind of sick, so I remember holding her in my arms, and we're watching Moana. The two other boys are sitting to my right, and out of nowhere, her oldest son, who was like 4 at the time, he reaches his hand out and he says, "I like my skin, I don't like your skin." Now, we're watching Moana, so I'm confused, as to where this came from, and I wasn't sure if I heard it right, so I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" And he sticks his hand out again. He says, "I like my skin, I don't like your skin. I like my skin because I'm white, and I don't like yours because it's dark." Now, I'm shocked and appalled, and so I'm trying to figure out the best way to handle this because, again, it's not my kid. So I went with the route of, "Hey, buddy, we don't say things like that. Those things are incredibly disrespectful and hurtful. We don't say hurtful things to people." And I put him in timeout. Text the mom to let her know what was said, and she was horrified, as I figured she would be. And she decides that she's going to leave class early to come home and rectify this. But her husband ended up beating her home. And he came in as he normally does. I said, "Hey, I told him, what had happened." And he just kind of stared at me. He stared at me for so long, he didn't even say anything to his son. Normal people would have could apologize immediately, but that didn't happen. And he just made me really uncomfortable, so I just left. I'm in my car and I'm talking on the phone with my mom about, what happened. And I see the mom's car drive right in front of my car. Now, I park in the same place every day, so I know she saw me. And I'm sorry, but this is going to have to be part 2. I'm about to run out of time.